The first question we have here, we have a couple more minutes, is when is a pivot not the right choice?
When is pivot not the right choice? So look at how much work that needs to be done. What kind of results do you want to get? If you're looking to just make some tweaks to your current product, for example, or your current strategy, you don't need to go through this entire strategic pivot process with all of the, with all the bullet points, all the checklists, and all the elements attached to it. It's going to be much faster. If, however, something is, you need some dramatic change, something is not quite right, you need to make as much as an 80% shift in your strategy, in your game plan, moving in a new direction, then you need to do something more substantial, and you need a process to support that. So look at the scope of what you're looking to do, how much time it's going to take, how much resources. That will give you an indicator of how much work you needed to put into this preparation and this planning stage.
Perfect, thank you. I think we have time to squeeze in one more question. How do you know when a strategic pivot is going to work, and are there any factors that people should be paying attention to see if it makes sense?
How do you know if it makes sense? So factors to pay attention to, yeah, there's several factors. So obviously, if you're, from a finance perspective, you're looking at economic factors, that goes without saying, but there are other factors you want to consider as well. And some of the ones that I want to bring to your attention are there any scientific advances? We've certainly seen a lot of that in the last year that are going to affect things. Think about tech side of things. Are there technological changes? If you're in the 90s and you came up with this idea for this great new movie streaming device, great idea, you would have been ahead of your time, it would have been wonderful. However, the pivot wouldn't have worked because the broadband penetration wasn't present at that time. So you wouldn't have been able to really, capture that market share. People wouldn't be adopting that. So think about the technology and what's around it in order for you to successfully execute. Think about environmental. If there's an impact there, sustainability is a big issue for companies right now, and they're looking at the environmental impact of their pivot and how consumers would be responding to that. Political, I think, is another important factor as well. Are there any political rules, regulations, laws that you need to be considering? If you want to open a Bitcoin trading platform in Ecuador, you might have the know-how, the chops, all the skill, the experience to be able to do that. But you'll be put into jail. The Ecuador government will put you into jail because that's not allowed. So think about the political, like if there are any, is there anything there? And then the final is social. Is it socially acceptable? How do people feel about it? Does it encroach on data privacy laws? Is it socially, now it's socially acceptable to wear a mask? I remember, gosh, years back on that TV program where, people are pitching Shark Tank, people are pitching their idea, and somebody actually came on, I remember this, and with the idea of face masks, and they rejected the idea. Like, oh, who's going to do that? Because it wasn't socially acceptable in the US or in the world, probably outside of Asia, to wear a mask. Today it is. So look at that social element. So hopefully, looking beyond the economic, hopefully that's given you some ideas of how you can broaden the scope of the factors that play as you're making your decision. I hope that helps.
Perfect. Thank you. I think this is a great place to stop. Leena, thank you so much for speaking with everyone today. And thank you to all of the attendees that joined on. Before we officially close out this session, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share with the group?
I came across an interesting quote from an economist, Ian Golden. He just came out with this book, great read, and he's talking about how things, how businesses and how government is emerging and progressing and moving through this pandemic. And he said, business as usual will only bring us more pandemics. Business as usual will only bring us more pandemics. We can't afford to be complacent. We can't afford to keep doing the thing that we were doing before, because that's what's created this, in the first place, right? So looking at, moving with a kind of an urgency, taking the steps to do the preparation that I talked about today. If you want a resource, I've got ton of great ideas in my book, Raise Your Innovation IQ. Check it out on Amazon. There's a lot of concepts on D&I, on sustainability, technology, product improvement, a lot of ideas for pivoting that that are actionable for you. And then if, for those of you that are looking at pivoting in the next 30 to 60 days, if you're looking at implementing something, if you want some specific insights that are relevant to your company, relevant to your industry, I'd be happy to jump on a call with you